Hi, my name's Kirsty Page, and in this recording, we're going to look at the skills that can influence children's ability to move into a higher level of writing. And the skills that I want to concentrate on today are the skills that allow children to write for a certain purpose, or to write for certain audiences, or to create certain emotions within the people who are going to read what it is that they're going to write. So some of that kind of higher level skill will be about how I pave the way for my reader, how I name my locations, how I introduce my characters, and how I sequence the information in that story, or whatever it is that I am writing. And then in terms of the feelings, it will be about the words I choose to use, and the anticipation, for example, that I choose to build in order to create certain emotions and feelings in the person who's going to read what has been written. And another kind of skill will be that ability to write for different audiences. So if I say to a class of 8-year-olds, okay, well, we're going to write a story for, you know, your friends, so children of the same age, compared to we're going to write a story to take down to our nursery to share with our 3-year-old children. Then of course that kind of isn't just about thinking, oh well, what can I write as it's about, right, well, okay, well, what would another 8-year-old be interested in? What would be, what level of scary, for example, can I put in there for an 8-year-old, which is very different from the level of scary and complexity that I want to be putting into my story for 3-year-olds. Now, all of this is a lovely set of skills to have, but I want to kind of think about where they come from a child developmental point of view, and why do some children have them and some children haven't, because we all know children who can be very strong writers and kind of very matter of fact in their writing, but those very same children struggle with that more emotional side of writing. So, of course, any kind of language base of writing comes from these central processes of language, of understanding, of vocabulary, and then of talk. But for these higher level skills, we actually find that they are more to do with what we would call pragmatic development, which is the set of rules and the set of skills which influence children's ability to have conversations, to have interactions with other people, but also to begin to see things from another person's point of view. So pragmatic skill is really important for conversations and for interactions. It's also an essential area to think about for the development of emotional understanding and for empathy. But what we actually find is that many of our higher level writing skills stem from this very same understanding of social communication and the ability to be able to put myself in another person's shoes, to think about what vocabulary should I use, or what level of scary would be appropriate, for example, for a different audience. So when we're thinking about language, and when we're thinking about putting things in place in the early years, in order to kind of get the end product at the end. We can see that all of that work on social communication, all of that work on personal, social, and emotional development will actually kind of feed into a child's writing later on. And if children struggle to write with that emotional edge, if children struggle to write things for a different audience, or to think about what a different audience might want to hear, or how we might need to change what we do to meet the needs of that audience, then chances are that will be a social communication skill gap rather than a mechanical skill gap, so to speak. Okay, well, we will talk more at the end of the newsletter about easy win, kind of holistic skill opportunities for our children as we develop a systematic approach to building these skills and filling skill gaps. So thank you for your time.